2025.
Like, what are we talking about?
Everything's getting worse all the time.
Everything. Talking about putting the fries in the bag.
Hey, listen.
You know what? Your local McDonald's coming soon.
We can all open a restaurant together.
Fired.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything in between and beyond. Welcome to the year 2025. Welcome to the first clickbait episode of 2025. We have prepared endlessly since the end of 2024 to bring you this premium New Year's episode. Joining me, we've got the whole crew. Brandon Perna, 5 Points Vids, Tom Grassi, still the reigning fan of the year, by the way, and Urinating Tree. We're just going to get immediately into the action here. We all suck. Who sucks the most?
Whoa.
That is the question.
Oh, who sucks the most?
Let's begin with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll take it. We played our arch.
Scooter transitioned into literally talking about him. He's like, who's going to be it? I'm going to be it.
I was going to say Dallas Cowboys anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, I deserve whatever you guys are about to say. So just say it. Go ahead and just let me have whatever.
Are the Eagles still fraudulent? Are the Eagles still fraudulent?
Do you want to talk about it?
Their backups. They whooped your ass.
Yeah, Kenny Mittens looked like an all-pro against you. Oh, hold on. Are you more in the line of like a DeForest Buckner saying you got humiliated, or are you more like a Micah Parsons where it was just apparently 5 plays that cost you the game?
You don't look at that scoreboard. That was a close game. All right.
Yeah, very close game. They just scored more points. That's all.
I will say that I do see what Micah's talking about. I understand like the sentiment behind what he was saying, because if you look at like the first quarter, Cowboys marched the ball down the field easily on the Eagles, and then Cooper Rush throws a pick 6. But we were moving the ball. Then the next drive we come back and we literally marched the ball all the way down the field, no resistance. 7-7. I was in my chat live stream talking trash to Eagles fans. Like, this all you got? So I understand what Micah's saying. It's a lot
and then
of
they scored 17 in the second quarter. Yeah.
Happened. But to be fair, some other things just went wrong. It's a little bit, Micah, I understand, but we got bodied. We did get bodied by the Eagles. We got bodied by Tanner McKee, who I didn't know was an NFL player before last week.
Was that 2 touchdowns on 4 attempts for Tanner?
Yeah, and he didn't even play. That was his first attempt in the NFL.
Touchdowns? Just the most
only Michael Penix
in NFL history.
AJ Brown threw his ball away, then gave away his jersey.
Relax. The thing is, here's where I'm at. Doesn't this ensure that Mike McCarthy's not coming back next season?
No, right? I was going to ask you, Scooter, what's worse, the outcome of this? What would be worse, the outcome of this season or Mike McCarthy coming back next year?
Okay, Mike McCarthy coming back is not what's worse. What's worse is the fact that you're missing out on a Ben Johnson, right? That Ben Johnson is going to be
a Cowboy, though.
Why does he want to go to the Cowboys?
Why would he want to go to the Bears?
Exactly. Well, the Bears are going to throw him money.
Why? Yeah, we have money.
The Cowboys are going to throw him money too.
Yeah. Brad,
the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It sounds better than any other team.
Well, look at all the coaches you've talked about over the past couple years. You talked about Sean Payton coming to the Cowboys. You talked about Dion coming to the Cowboys. You talked about Belichick coming to the Cowboys. You're talking about.
I never talked about Dion or Belichick.
You mentioned Dion. You've mentioned Ben Johnson. And for all I know, you're getting Rex Ryan or Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera.
Bring back Mike McCarthy. We do not want Ron Rivera. We're down bad. Cowboys are down tremendously bad.
Oh, someone's at the door. Give me 1 second.
For that, to be fair, though, we are now back in Genty draftable position. And his bowl game,
really dropped his draft stock a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't play against some hard competition. But listen, the Cowboys were not the only team to mess up this week. Some would say the New York Giants are the team that fumbled literally and metaphorically. Rapid
Anybody good?
reaction 5. What was going through your mind as you're watching the number 1 overall seed fall
Adam,
out of your graces?
before you answer, Adam, before you even put your thoughts together, I gotta hand it to you. I think you might be the most handsome member of Clickbait.
Look at that. Look at that.
You're looking good here.
Yes, sir.
Adam, that is a nice picture. I know I commented that Button's holding on for dear life, and that's also a compliment because
Spider-Man when he's holding back the train. He's like,
that's muscle.
"Ugh."
That's muscle. And honestly, you look cooler than all of us in that photo.
That was a great picture.
So,
It's that Instagram filter, man. Don't ask. He's not cool.
I didn't
He's
realize.
about as cool as the Death
I
Valley.
never thought of you as more handsome than me. And then I saw this photo this morning, and I was like, my whole clickbait life.
Brendan. All I'm gonna say, dude, if you want to look better, just look next to me when I'm slovenly. You will look like a GQ model. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
No, you look good. That coat's cool.
Thank you.
I don't know, dude. That guy looks like he F's.
hey, Pitbull is aging well.
It's true, sorry.
Listen, can we get back to football here and not talk about how amazingly handsome I am? Thank you.
Aback.
Yep, I told you.
I was
so.
on the
He was
toilet,
wrong.
and I looked at
Goddamn
It's
Rex
not the
Ryan.
first time
He's
you've
on the
ever
toilet.
said that sentence. You're like, guys, let's get back to football here.
Yeah.
I was taken
Look at
aback
that.
while I was on the toilet.
All we had to do was compliment him the whole time. Damn it.
Scooter, the Giants. There's a word that the Giants did to the ball, and it starts with FU, but it is not fumbled. They messed up so bad. I have never seen a team win a more meaningless game for no reason against. You know who I am even more angry at is the Colts.
It should be the
The
Colts.
Colts.
No, Colts.
Their season was
defense is
still
terrible.
alive, and they laid down like the French in World War II. They were just like, run over us with your tanks right around this Maginot line. And the Giants, they dropped 4 spots from this L.
45
Malik
points.
Neighbors was going off. Drew Lock played like he was. I've never seen this Drew Lock.
5
6
touchdowns.
times CPA and the stats history.
I've seen that Drew Lock, Adam.
Yeah,
He comes
well,
around once a year. Once a year.
and he showed up when we didn't need him. I was like, what are you guys doing? Fortunately, New England is not looking for a quarterback. Tennessee is, and Cleveland is. There is
I
still
think you might
a
trade up.
chance. Yeah,
A
the
chance
Giants
for what?
haven't
5?
screwed
A
themselves.
chance for what?
We could get one more. We could get. It's between Ward and Sanders. Okay,
They're
there's
both
4.
they're gone. And Travis Hunter's gone too. Now what?
Yeah, Travis
you
Hunter's
think?
going.
Then we trade down. We get Scatabo, and then we just and then we get some line help. We get
Why
rid
would
of
you trade for
Evan
Scatabo?
Neal.
You have Tracy.
Let me just ask you
Imagine a backfield with Scatabo and Tracy, though. Oh
You're not
my
afraid.
goodness!
You have bigger issues than needing an extra running back.
You're not afraid of Scatabo and we're not afraid of that. Here's my question to you. Are you prepared, 5, to go through another full season of football without a quarterback you believe in?
We're gonna have to. It doesn't matter. Like, yes, it's been this bad for how many years now? Since 2022. We're how many seasons removed from that one playoff win, which was sus altogether. Like, yeah, sometimes you gotta enjoy pain because it makes the winning sweeter. It makes
Daniel
the
Jones
winning.
will be a free agent.
Well,
Yeah, they should sign Daniel Jones.
mean,
Maybe
even bring back
if
Geno
there's
Smith.
some universe where they
Zach
think that
Wilson?
Drew Lock is the guy, I am going to stick my head in an oven. I don't know.
Look
what
how
to
bad
do.
the Colts
I
defense.
just-
It's his aura, dude. It's his aura.
We
And they were
need
missing
some
tackles
hope.
left and right, my man.
I know that Malik Neighbors slipped between two guys and they ran into each other. Like, remember that play, Scooter, where the two Florida guys were blocking each other? That's how the Colts were the entire game. They were just playing again. They were laying down and letting the Giants run all over them.
First of all,
It was the saddest, most pathetic effort I've ever seen from a team
never in your
that
life.
had something on the line.
Never in your life.
You could have
come
gone to the
for Florida
playoffs.
Gators.
Like,
Never for your life in your life come for the Florida Gators again. Let's start there.
Okay.
Secondly,
All right.
Secondly, let's talk about your GM, who you said, "Oh, you know, these are your words, Five." You said this. You said, "Well, you know, maybe he's not that bad. You know, maybe Joe Shane, you know, just give him another year." Well, how are you feeling now that Saquon, the guy who you were okay with not re-signing, is now over 2,000 yards? Probably could have broken the all-time record against the Giants, but they said, we don't even care about the Giants. We're going to sit him. It's not even that big of a deal. How do you...
So,
Nick.
okay, there's two things. That clip is going to be played forever. Like, especially, it's basically Joe Shane being like, he's not going to rush for 2,000 yards. That's ridiculous. Let's just let him go. Let's let Saquon walk. He's not going to rush for two. And then Saquon rushes for 2,000 yards. I just want to say one thing. I was secretly hoping, I'm some type of masochist or something like that Saquon would have beaten the all-time rushing record on, against the Giants, because the whole Saquon situation is like you dumping a girl who you thought you could do better than, and then her having an absolute blow up, dating the best dude, and then getting married basically in your backyard. That's what would happen if Saquon had broken the rushing record against the Giants. And I wanted that to happen because all we deserve is pain for that move.
You're so broke. You have to rent out your backyard for the reception.
Yes. That's how bad it is. And we deserve the pain because there's a lot of Giants fans that talk shit. That talk smack.
Correct.
And they need to shut up. They need to really shut up.
Final question, because we know you're down bad. Probably going to be down bad the next 2-3 years. Do the Giants have a better or worse record next season? Better or worse record?
It depends on what happens Sunday. So if they somehow sneak into a top 2 pick, if another team messes up their tank, I would say this is going to be ironic, but they're going to have a worse record if they go out and draft a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders, because the learning curve is going to be awful. Like they might only win 2 games next year.
They're both raw quarterbacks.
But
maybe this could be a blessing in disguise as you guys wait for Arch Manning to come out of Texas. Some people are looking at it in that lens. So who knows?
That's the only thing. And I've said this a lot is you can draft a quarterback and just move on from him. You can do it as many times as you need if you have a top. Look at what the Cardinals did with Josh Rosen. They took him as number 9 overall. They're like, this guy's a bum. They took,
and they're
Kyler
doing great
Murray,
now.
Literally, yeah. They did it literally the next year. They were just like, all right, we'll start. The cost of entry for a rookie deal on a quarterback is not that. It's not going to break your team like a Deshaun Watson who is ruining the Cleveland Browns, and they actually had to restructure his contract, which definitely means he's at least coming back next year. Oh, yeah. They might move on from him from there, but that is not what you want. So however it is, the Giants are going to fix this eventually. I don't want to sound crazy, but it's going to be a while. It might be 3 or 4 more years. You could just see me on Clickbait every year from now on, just miserable, and you guys will laugh the whole time. And
I would appreciate that, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
A miserable 5 is a good 5.
Screw you. You enjoy your 9 and 8s for the rest of your existence.
What Brandon Perna would appreciate is a Denver Broncos win that has been eluding his team the past 2 weeks. Currently, as it stands, the Broncos are not in the playoffs. They need to win this game against the Chiefs to get into the playoffs. Let's go to Brandon Perna. Let's just tell me about the past couple of weeks, the losses to where you are now. Are you nervous going up against the Chiefs, despite knowing that they will be resting their starters? Brandon Perna.
If I was scared of Carson Wentz, it would go against everything I believe in about this football team. Is Carson Wentz going to want to win like he did last year at the end of the season or whatever? Did he even win last year? I think he did.
He did.
He's not gonna. Not against this defense. No way. I'm not worried about it.
They got pretty torched against the Bengals and the Chargers.
Can we full screen Brandon and have him say, I am not worried about the
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, you also got you got wrecked by a running back crew of J.K. Dobbins, no J.K. Dobbins, and a hobbled Gus Bus. The Chargers have one wide receiver. You got beat by them.
Yeah, Lad McConkey's really good. And
we didn't have anyone else.
We had no Riley Moss for Benzino. We had no Riley Moss in that game.
Yeah, Riley Moss Brandon. He got mossed repeatedly.
Into the camera, Brandon. We need you to say, I am not worried about the Kansas City Chiefs. We will easily win this game. Straight to camera. That's what we need.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. See this? See this? I'm not worried about Carson Wentz or those mother-licking Chiefs going into the game where they're resting all of their starters, half of their starters, 6 of their starters, however many they can rest. Carson Wentz is past his prime. We went toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow in the Bengals, the team everybody wants to see in the playoffs.
I know.
And we should have beat them. We didn't. The Chiefs, I think I'm not worried about losing this game. I think it sucks that the way the Broncos have to get into the playoffs is by beating a Chiefs team that's resting their starters. And maybe we get an even weirder scenario where the Bengals lose on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Steelers. You better be rooting for my team, buddy.
Yeah, you can relax.
Halftime of the Dolphins game, they're down 30-0, and the Broncos rest their starters for the second half of the Chiefs game.
You never know, though, because once again, they're playing the Jets, and the Jets are terrible. Although they might not be without Tua, they'll be playing Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
So,
ladies and gentlemen,
the Dolphins could backdoor in and then get crushed by Buffalo in the first round because it's a great team and it's below 40 degrees.
Look, we played the Chiefs well when they had Mahomes.
Did block field goal.
It was a block field goal.
It's when they were pulling
Had they played
poorly
in that first matchup against Kansas City, I would be worried. Now there's the weird caveat here is Wentz hasn't played all season. He played one game last year. How the Chiefs actually use him in their offense, that could be a little tricky. Vance Joseph, I think he's good, but I don't think he is a great defensive coordinator. So maybe it takes a little while for them to make some adjustments. Like, I don't know. That's like the weird caveat, but I feel pretty confident they'll win. If they don't, it'll be embarrassing. It'll be all the things I don't even want to think about. But mentally, I'm past that. This team has been pretty good this year. They have not beat the good teams, and that's disappointing. But we thought they would be bad. Everybody thought they would be bad this year. And I was like, at this point, if we're just like Bo Nix feels like the guy, I'll be happy. Now we're fighting for a playoff spot.
So my question to you, Brandon, is this. If you're past this, right, you're in the playoffs. Let's assume you beat the Chiefs. Yes, what's the ceiling on this Broncos team? Can this Broncos team make some noise with Bo Nix in the postseason?
I mean, I would imagine they lose in the first round to the Bills. The Bills are just a better football team.
Oh, yeah.
For them to win, it has to be matchup. They could beat the Steelers. If they were going to play the Chargers, they could win that game. And if the Chiefs and Bills were flip-flop, they could beat the Chiefs. I don't think they can beat the Ravens. I don't think they can beat Buffalo.
You can beat the Texans.
Oh, the Texans.
You'll crush the Texans. The Texans are terrible this year.
Team right now.
Oh yeah, they won by default.
But like, look at all the Broncos' losses this year. The Ravens, that's the one game where they just got their ass kicked, start to finish. All their games were entertaining. They take it down to the wire. They deserve to be there. There's interesting in terms of how they play games. They're as interesting as the Bengals.
That'd be awesome.
They just don't have the sex appeal as the Bengals, or the same sex appeal as the Bengals have right now.
I'm very happy that Korean dictator Kim Jong-un watches Clickbait Sports.
Kim Jong-un
I think
West. He loves all
yes. I think the Broncos have a huge advantage with this game being at home. You know, like I think that they get it done. As much as Brandon is huffing that hopium and copium, I think the Broncos get it done. They're gonna at least be in the playoffs. I just don't know how far they're gonna get.
That's fair. And we also
at that point it's just house money, so it's like whatever.
I don't care if we lose in the first round. I don't care if the Bills beat the shit out of us. Like, I just want to be there.
It's just
I
know exactly.
You say that, but watching your team get beat in the playoffs is a unique experience in its own.
Oh yeah, I've had it happen repeatedly.
I've been there for 9 years.
It's not fun.
9 years.
Experience of anyone here watching their team lose in the first round. Let me tell you something, Brandon. It gets old after about the 17th time. Yeah. You're just you're over it losing in the first round.
Now, last time my team went to the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl. So I don't really understand what you're saying.
Okay, Miami Marlins.
Let me let you know it's not ideal. It's not ideal. What else is not ideal is how the Packers are ending the season. We go immediately to Tom Grassi. Tom, take us through where your team is at. We know they're one of the stronger teams in the NFC, but are they strong enough to make it further than the Broncos will in the AFC?
It's a good question. I think that there's a couple things. Obviously, the game against the Vikings was super disappointing, and it was very similar to the first game they played against the Vikings. And before we get into anything, like, you got to give credit to the Vikings. The Vikings are playing like really well. I mean, their defense, they were getting after Love. Our offensive line has looked pretty damn good. Did not look good on Sunday. Love couldn't get into a rhythm until that fourth quarter, and then their defense was not playing, as tough. No Christian Watson, definitely hurt on the offense. He's a big part of that. The defense, Jair Alexander, who's been recovering from his torn, dude, like he's going to be out. Who knows what that's going to look like. I've been working on a Jair Alexander video that's going to come out either today or tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. No Evan Williams, that sucks. No Quay Walker, that's been sucking. Devontae Wyatt also got injured as well. He had a concussion. So here's where I'm at. It was just an all around bad game for the Packers. I'm glad that they put up a fight, in the end, but they lost that football game. And I think the biggest problems with the Packers have been this year has been the pass rush. It looked a little bit better as we were heading into that Vikings game, but also the quality of the opponents does make a huge difference there. But they got no pressure on Sam Darnold. I think they sacked him one time. They had an interception, which was nice, but they couldn't get it done. And then with all the injuries in the secondary, it's tough to play on defense right this second. So the Packers have lost, a handful of games, 4 within the division, to the Lions and 2 to the Vikings, which is definitely disappointing. Good team. But they've hung around with them.
That's the only games they've lost.
They lost against the Eagles week 1.
But that was a weird game, as I said.
So here's the thing. I'm not making excuses for them. So right now the Packers are sitting at the 7 seed. They beat the Bears. Cool. If the Cowboys wind up beating the Commanders, and the Packers win, then the Packers can get the 6 seed, which would definitely be helpful. Going into these playoffs, the Eagles look tough. The one thing that I'm looking at is Jalen Hurts, at least as of yesterday, still has not cleared concussion protocol. And so if the Packers have to go on the road and return, Jalen Hurts is returning, I'm assuming he's going to be playing in the wild card round. Yeah. The Packers got a shot, and then they're either going to have to go to Detroit or they're going to have to go to Minnesota, which at that point, let's just see what happens. So I think that right now the Packers are a very good team. I think with their lack of pass rush, the injuries going on right now with the secondary, they're falling short of being a great team. They can compete with them, they can contend with them, but they're not getting those wins. The good news is, and I know there's a lot of Packers fans that are doom and gloom at this point, is they're already in the playoffs, right? We're not in the Broncos situation where we're trying to get into the postseason. We're not trying to be oh man, can we get there? And once you get into the playoffs as a team that has won from the 6th seed, You never know. So like, I'm super excited because one, I get to watch my team in the postseason, and from there, everybody's 0-0. You know what I mean? Like, let's just see what happens. So if they catch the Eagles at the right time, it's possible. Then they go to Minnesota or they go to Detroit, it's possible. So I'm excited to just sit back and watch because it's a very young football team. There are glaring holes that need to be addressed, but that's not until next season. I ain't ready to talk about next season yet.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the Packers are in a really good spot because the Vikings and the Lions, they're going to show down for basically the number 1 seed. And I'm really actually liking the Vikings as, you know, when you say that they can't get any pressure on Darnold, the Vikings have a good offensive line, and that's scary in the playoffs. Really scary. But, you know, a wild card team, they're going to be able to face either the Buccaneers or the Falcons, right? And then, you know, coming out of the wild card is not going to be a bad position in the NFC, and it's going to be wide open for sure.
All I'm going to say, Tampa Bay might surprise a few people. I know they're kind of down attrition-wise on defense, but they've been looking pretty strong against some quality opponents. Chargers, Panthers were kind of upstart. I think they do make it back, and I'm going to be quite honest here. Like, if Vikings, Lions, one of them faces them, it's no guarantee, especially in Tampa. They have the power of the Buccaneers. Let's go.
If you're looking at sleeper teams, though, I mean, like the Packers, they had experience last year. They were close. They were on their way to a Super Bowl.
I think if the Packers beat the 49ers, they could have done it.
Yeah. And then, you know, I don't know if you're going to like sleep on the Commanders. They don't have the experience, but the Vikings are a team that really, if I'm the Lions, that's a team that I'm scared about, especially after this Sunday when you see what happens. Because there is some stakes. There are stakes on Sunday.
Oh, dude,
it's like a mini playoff game.
And for the number 1 seed, like, here's where I'm at. If the Packers finish the 7th seed, if they are able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, which is going to be a challenge,
please,
if they're able to beat Philly week 1, then I go, it's wide open, because you start seeing your division within the playoffs. It is wide open. It is very difficult to beat teams 3 times. The Packers have been on the receiving end of that. Like, it is wide open. So all I'm going to say, I'm very excited for the playoffs to start. And if they lose, like the Packers, like they lose a wild card round against the Eagles, who are the wind up playing, it's going to suck. But there is a lot of optimism that, okay, here's what they need to address. They need to go get another corner. Who knows what's happening to Jair, but they're going to need one regardless. They need to get more pass rushers, and they need to add another wide receiver, probably day 2 or day 3. And the good thing is they're going to have a crap ton of money next year to do so. They were still feeling the cap hit from last year and 2 years ago from Aaron Rodgers. Now, it ain't going to be that bad. So they're going to be able to make some moves.
Here's my question. With all the optimism, let's say the Packers get knocked out and they lose their first playoff game.
Sure.
Who do you see making it out of the NFC, Tom? If it's not the Packers, it's this team.
I think it's an NFC North team. I think it is. I mean, the Vikings might kill me. It would kill me. But like the Lions, especially if they start getting healthier, Montgomery comes back, Anzalone comes back, then you start like, okay, maybe they got something here. Because they went toe-to-toe with the 49ers, who are not a great team, but the 49ers, they took their best shot. Neither team had a defense, except you had Kirby Joseph hanging out for the Lions, getting 2 interceptions. I feel like it's going to be an NFC North team unless it's the Eagles. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now.
The Eagles are the best team on paper, if I'm going to be completely honest here. My worry is Sirianni. That's my main
Hurts
concern.
Is my concern now, because like how significant, if he, again, this is all I saw from yesterday. It could be updated news now that he hadn't cleared concussion protocol yet.
I'm going to say you will respect the power of Kenny Mittens. The kitten Mittens will fling and fling, and he will prove to me that my delusions are justified.
He's going to clear. If they have to do a weekend at Bernie's type thing where the medical examiner is literally playing, there's no brain activity, but he definitely doesn't have a concussion.
Jacob, Jalen Hurts will be starting running back. Sorry, James Starks came around at the end, and he was like randomly played, and he did really well during that playoff run. My dude, like, we were not that healthy. We were losing people in the defense. We lost Charles Woodson in the Super Bowl. I don't know about health being that number 1 thing on that pack.
Let me ask you guys this question for everyone. Do you guys believe that momentum is a real thing? Like having momentum going into the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
That's how the Giants won 2 Super Bowls. They had
Steelers
all
won
that
a Super Bowl
momentum.
in 06.
It means something, but it doesn't mean everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, knowing that, let's switch our focus to the Steelers, who are going in the opposite direction, surging downwards with their momentum, losing the last couple of games here, closing out the season on a bad note. Tree, immediate reaction. You guys have played 3 contenders and have lost all 3 games. Is this cause for concern heading into the playoffs, knowing that you're also facing the Bengals in the last week as well?
Honestly, yes, it's running into the same trend that's been. Apparently, 5 out of the last 7 years, they've had at least a 3-game losing streak in the final stretch. It's kind of turning into 2020 light. You had a chance to assert yourself as an elite contender, and you got not only lose to 3 teams that are Super Bowl contenders, you got dismantled by them.
So,
and my concern, well, good.
No, real quick, I want you to continue your thought. But here's the thing with the Steelers is that everybody and their mother, including myself, sat here before the season and was like, man, this gauntlet of like 7 games that they got to go through, it's going to be difficult. They already clinched a playoff spot. And like, it's just proving to be as difficult as anticipated. So are you more down on the Steelers now? Or are you just like, oh, we're kind of right with the schedule that, yeah, we're going up against some good teams who are kicking our ass?
I would say it's kind of the same. I mean, I was thinking like, okay, this is going to be your true test if you're a true Super Bowl contender. Hey, that's not the ride. That's an airplane, my man. The danger plane. Mr. Unlimited. But, I mean, the thing is, Russell Wilson hasn't been the major problem, more or less. Their defense has been getting gashed in multiple
secondaries
categories. Yeah, secondary's injured. Joey Porter Jr., you're playing like a backup secondary. They missed Ezekiel Elliott against the Ravens. DeMonte Casey is not good. And Minka, I know he's made a Pro Bowl. He has not had a good year. He is,
5 pressures against the Chiefs. 5 pressures.
Exactly. I know. And the thing is, you're supposed to have an elite edge rusher or like 4 edge rushers. I know TJ's probably still dealing with that ankle sprain.
Yeah.
They just zone in on Highsmith. And you just hope, like, without the high-end talent, they're just not there. And now you're probably at the point where everybody's panicking again. I think they lose to the Bengals. I'm going to be completely honest here because there is no momentum right now. The offense is sluggish. You're without George Pickens. I feel like George Pickens is more or less trying to imitate that South Park sketch with Russell Crowe fighting around the world. I feel like he's going to start a heavyweight bout and be the next next contender for Jake Paul to fight. I think it's going to be a situation where, okay, you've run out of gas and you just hope you're playing the Texans because I'm going to be quite honest, the Texans just look like shit. You
could beat the Texans.
Okay.
They're very sus.
Bobby said that before.
Is
Defense good, offensive line, offense. I mean, they've been injured to hell, but it's not good.
But that's still
that a successful season? If you just win one playoff game, is that?
I don't know. That's the problem because the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. But I feel like if you play Baltimore, you're getting creamed.
Oh yeah.
So
and at this point, like I'm probably going to break because it's like, okay, you've changed your quarterback room, you changed your receiver room, you changed your O-line, you're back to the same stuff. And the problem is the solution in that regard, they're never going to do.
So what would be the solution? That's my question. What would be
the question is would probably be probably would either be having to do a reset or like more or less think like, okay,
like Ezekiel Elliott help the Steelers.
Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, maybe he's a backup center. I mean, we might take him there. We might take a backup center.
Would firing Mike Tomlin and hiring Mike McCarthy be the move?
Well, they're never going to fire Tomlin. Let's
Mike and Mike.
Here. They are never going to fire that dude. But Mike McCarthy is a local. I mean,
well, he is a local.
And the Steelers have never been really into hiring retreads. They've always been more into hiring unproven defensive coordinators.
The thing is, Tree, is like you're closer to being a Super Bowl contender than you are to a tanking team. You guys should just continue
because you have TJ
what you're doing.
That's the problem.
Just like keep doing what you're doing.
You'd be a 5-1 team.
See,
some teams have not had to reset.
I disagree. I think the Steelers are in the worst place you can be in the NFL, and that is
having
it's where the Broncos have been forever.
A little bit above average,
insane for years.
Below average. That is the worst place you can be in the National Football League. Why? Because you're never going to get the elite talent that comes at the top of the draft. Because you're never going to get any of the accolades that come with almost making it to the Super Bowl or making it to the Super Bowl and losing. So
TJ Watt was a late first-round pick. So
he
it's
was
not about where you draft.
Watt is not the
Never know in the playoffs.
TJ Watt is the outlier, though. He's not the norm. So it is harder. I think everyone would agree. It's way harder to hit on your draft picks in the end of the round than at the top of the round. So it is fascinating to see.
This is what was talked about with the Jets forever too, right? Because we were talking about how much of a genius Joe Douglas was, and that he was getting all these super early round draft picks. And listen, the draft is still difficult. It's a lot easier when you have multiple draft picks within the top 10 spots. Yeah, I think and that's why you also see that you differ from the good and the great GMs who are able to find talent. Let's take Goody, for example. So Goody is under fire, especially with the corner stuff and all that crap. We found a starting 7th round defensive back in Carrington Valentine. We have found offensive linemen in the 4th and 5th and 6th rounds that have been starters, who have been Pro Bowlers, who have been all pros. That is where it's going to really matter. So yes, you can get the flashy talent, but as we all know, there are plenty of 1st round busts. So I think it's going to be interesting because the Steelers, they need a quarterback.
And the problem is they're not gonna
get one
because they tried, they held on to Ben for way too long.
Yep.
Mason Rudolph never panned out. Nope. Kenny Pickett never panned out.
Nope.
Russell Wilson, he's better. He's able to stretch the field, but he's a low end starter. You might bring him back for one more year, but otherwise, it's just okay.
Hey, if you want to talk about GMs finding guys, the Broncos. 2023, our first pick was in the 2nd round, and I think we had to. Did we have to trade to even get there? I can't remember.
I don't know. I know Nick Bonito's been a really good pick.
Riley Moss, Nick Bonito, 2nd round. We didn't have our 1st rounder from that Russell Wilson pick. Luke Wattenberg's been starting at center for us all year. So you got to find those pieces. It's not saying all these guys are, Hall of Famers or something, but that's where real draft evaluation is underrated because and a lot of those players you might not even identify as great players right away. Nick Bonito was with the Broncos for 2 years and we saw flashes of it, but the guy we were talking about was Baron Browning on the edge. He couldn't stay healthy. And then this year, Nick Bonito's been great. Even Jonathan Cooper, who plays other side of the edge, he was a 7th round pick. So our 2 starting edge rushers, 3rd and 7th rounder. And, they've been Nick Bonito's been talked about a little bit in Defensive Player of the Year. Sure. So, yeah, those picks are really important. And as bad as the Russell Wilson trade was for George Payton, I commend new ownership coming in and sticking with him. And I think him and Sean Payton are on the same page. And now it's just hoping they continue to find those pieces as they move forward.
Well, it's also...
Yeah, I think... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask...
No, I think what...
Do you want to address the trenches first, or do you want to go quarterback? For that same reason, because look at how the Lions built it, right? They went and they built it in the trenches. So yes, you guys need a quarterback desperately, but whoever's back there is going to have to deal with that offensive line. Is going to have to. You got Malik Neighbors, which is good, right? Would you rather address the trenches if you can't get your quarterback, or are you just going to swing for the fences and get somebody to throw the ball?
We've got our offensive line is so bad. It is so bad. It doesn't really matter who's back there right now because we're playing 3rd and 4th stringers, guys that should not honestly be on NFL rosters are out there starting. And as hard as that is to say, and I don't want to hurt, those they're guys that are trying, but they're just not there. And Evan Neal is looking like a bust, and we have to fix that. So if it means losing again and having another tank season, but we address the trenches, look what Denver did. Denver, has addressed the trenches and they are allowing a Bo Nix to play and thrive in their system because the trenches were good before he came in. The Giants don't have that on either side. Dexter Lawrence is a centerpiece, but there's also injuries and things like that. The Giants are they're very bad. They're very bad in the trenches, and you can't win that way. You look. The Bengals have not addressed their offensive line, and yes, they've gotten by with Joe Burrow's talent, but he's just dragging them. Look at that point.
Yeah, the thing is, the Bengals have tried to fix their offensive line. They drafted Amarius Mims first round, Orlando Brown Jr., Lyle Collins never panned out, Karras Kappa. It's just nothing's worked in that regard, which may have to do more with their blocking schemes and coaching. I know with the Steelers, too, they're down on that list as well. They've invested a lot of picks in their offensive line. Broderick Jones has been a massive disappointment. Like, he's been bad. Like, he's either making bad penalties or giving up crucial sacks. Fontanu's been out for the year. They still have Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle. They've invested in free agents there. Frazier's been pretty good. But at the same time, it's James Daniels has been out for the year, and Siomolo has been in and out with injury as well.
There's just so run blocking. Your run game's decent.
Exactly. Frazier's been really good for that.
5. You remember how you said that you can just draft another quarterback? It doesn't really matter. That's the attitude I feel like the Giants should take with the O-line. Honestly, you guys should invest in the O-line, because I'm telling you, if you guys have an O-line that's elite, Drew Lock becomes a serviceable quarterback. Not only that,
well, look at the Vikings. They addressed their O-line. They put a wall in front of Sam Darnold, and now Sam Darnold looks like an MVP. You give anybody time back there, an NFL quarterback who has time to make decisions, they're going to take, especially someone that wants to learn and get better, like Sam Darnold. But still, that like Matt Leinart in college, everyone thought he was a beast because every single play he was vertical. Like, he had the most amazing line in front of him. I just want to say one thing.
Quentin drops him. Hold on. I dropped it like Quentin Johnston. Oops. Praise.
Oh, good. That was done for tree. Yes.
I dropped it. Oh no.
Thank you.
Oops.
We do not.
There's so many.
Let him know. Let him know.
I just want to finish one point. It's such an interesting phenomenon organizationally with NFL teams, how there are elements of luck, whether a guy pans out or not. Yes. But some teams are just consistently better at evaluating. And one of the most underrated parts of what I think good organizations do is they don't just evaluate talent. They don't just look at 40 times. They evaluate people. And the Giants have not been good at evaluating people lately, and the Jets are terrible at it, and that's why they suck. They're the Panthers are terrible at evaluating people, and they suck. And that's why the good organizations like the Packers, they identify which people they want on their bus, and that's something that a lot of teams are getting wrong
over the last month.
Mm-hmm. That is completely true. I'm 100%
AJ Brown,
because you can literally look at. Everyone thinks the GM for the Cowboys is Jerry Jones, when in fact it's actually Will McClay who's making a lot of these decisions. The fourth round pick for Jonathan Mingo, Will McClay is making a lot of those decisions. He's the director of personnel for the Cowboys.
But Jerry Jones loved Jonathan Mingo in college.
You can look, he did. You can look at the draft, the Cowboys draft, and you can see reflected during the season, the misses. When we miss on a draft, you can see it shows up because we don't do anything in free agency. And then when we hit in a draft, it also shows up. So talent evaluation, very important. With that being said, we do not have a Thursday night football game this week.
Lord.
So in lieu
Dude, if you saw how bad that Seahawks-Bears game was, I was just barely paying attention.
I streamed every single one of them for the past 3 years. Oh, I know. I know.
Can we just abolish Thursday night football? I mean, everyone says I miss Thursday football. No, you don't.
And you know what?
No, the bread and circuses.
I swear, we got a stretch of games where we got some good Thursday night games.
But that when they had a week's rest at Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving.
Yep.
In lieu of us previewing the non-existent Thursday night football game, I think we should all go around and say a New Year's resolution that our team should abide by this year. What is something your team should be on the New Year's resolution list for your team? I'll start. We should actually open up the pocketbook this postseason. It makes sense.
A pocketbook.
Sign Micah.
You haven't locked up an extend.
Restructure Dak. Restructure CD. You have all of this money to play with now. Make a move. Do something. Please. That's on our New Year's resolution for the Cowboys. What about your teams?
Mine's
Brad Holmes
easy.
just rips me off, and we all know it.
Huh?
No, about Brad Holmes. Nope, he just rips me off. Brad Holmes goes, hey, who does Tom Grossley want the Packers to draft? And for the past 3 freaking fracking years, they're just like, oh, let's go get that guy. So
maybe he watches your streams and he's just lurking in the background, and that's why he's getting your guys. He wants to see a reaction, dude. Hey. I don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying.
New Year's resolutions for your team. What's the Giants?
If they give you a Super Bowl ring and they mail you one on Q&A Friday, just putting it out there.
I want my team to lose on Sunday and get a top pick, and then we'll just fix whatever glaring issues we have and just get incrementally better. That's all I can ask for.
Will McClay makes the decisions. I'm just letting you know. You do with that with what you want. Do with that what you want.
The Broncos just need to remember to run the football. Just run the football. Be consistent with it. Don't get away from it, Sean. It helps Bo Nix quite a bit.
I don't know.
Just run the football.
I'm sorry, Hutton.
What is a Steelers resolution?
A Steelers
resolution. TJ Watt goes back to anime mode, and we win a couple playoff games. That is the New Year's resolution. But who knows?
You're being greedy.
Yeah, I know. I'm being greedy. I'm getting impatient. It's been 8 years, and it's just humiliation after humiliation. It's like, really, come on. Stop with the cock tease. Stop with the cock tease.
Finally,
like, I want to believe in Arthur Smith with how weird our offense has been.
Finally, the Packers.
What
What would be your New Year's resolution?
So here's the thing. I will say this, that the run defense for the Packers, I have actually been happy with it for the first time in like a decade. So that's been kind of nice. So now we just got to make sure the secondary is good. Because I think like the pieces for the offense are there. Like I said, I think you could add a day 2, day 3 wide receiver, and it's definitely going to help. But the Packers have a bunch of free agency. So I think taking a look at, let me back up real quick. The Packers hit a grand slam this past offseason because they got 2 of the best free agents. They got Josh Jacobs, who has been phenomenal this year, and they got Xavier McKinney, who has been phenomenal this year.
Yes.
So they are building this roster. They're building this team. I still think that they can compete in these playoffs. I'm excited to see what they're going to look like.
By the way.
But either way, I think what this offseason is going to look like with more spending money, let's go get those pieces that are going to put them over the top. Addressing corner, getting a much better pass rush because that has been lacking significantly all season. And then let's go rock and get something.
So my question is, well, what's happening with Van Ness? I know you drafted him to be the next pass rusher.
Lucas Van Ness.
Van Ness monster.
The Packers, they drafted a very, 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 very raw talent in that he has like the strength, he's got the muscle, he's got the build, the athleticism, but the technique when they got him was significantly lacking. And something that Perna brought up, and I think I forgot about it, and I'm glad I just reminded myself again. It's the same thing. Like this might be a hot take. It sometimes takes years to develop players. I think we have gotten, and I know this has been talked about a million times, we have gotten very spoiled, especially in like, talk media and all that great stuff of, oh, if they're not good year 1, they're a bust and they suck, which sometimes it takes guys 2 or 3 years to develop. I remember Pepperidge Farm remembers that it took 3 years to see if a talent is going to be good enough. So I haven't given up on LVN. Would I like him to be playing better? Of course I would. But, you gotta wait it out. Rashawn Gary took a while to come about too.
Yeah. So. The other side too is that a guy like Marcus Davenport was a project like an LVN.
Yep.
And he never really panned out due to injuries. So that's
I know. That's how we wound up. I think it was Jair because the Saints traded us their first round pick to go get Davenport.
Yep.
Oh, I remember.
That is fair. So with all the resolutions in, we are now going to head to the countdown. If you have any donations, get them in before the countdown is over.
donate to someone else, not me.
Tree is going down.
No, quit. I'm gonna drop that L on you like drops.
Great. That's a great one.
Drop it.
Mm-hmm.
Drop it like it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Snoop.
Are we gonna play the countdown?
My New Year's resolution is for somebody else to do the rap. Godspeed.
Okay.
2019, 16, 15, 4.
You're getting so good at counting, buddy.
Fucking ass for.
One potato, two potato, or
we gonna take it to downtown.
It's a beautiful town.
I'm regretting this resolution. I could just do it.
No.
I could
No.
just
19, 18, 17,
I can just-
16,
I will
15,
begin.
4.
I have $63.91. Thank you for the donation.
Thank you, everyone. I got $104.94. You guys freaking rock. I love you. Let's go.
124, baby.
Tree, what did you get?
374.
Yes! 217.46!
Tree is punished.
Fucking.
I still have to watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary. You just got to give me till after the playoffs, and then we'll watch
I
it.
still have to do the
These are done.
OnlyFans one too.
Yes, he's never done the OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm dragging. Obviously, dude. Why would I want to do
You're
that?
stalling so much on making an OnlyFans. I would just love that there would be
2025. What should Tree have to do with so much money?
There's a Yinzer mobile. We have a suggestion for that.
I got one. I got one.
Okay.
What?
There was that video of Ben Roethlisberger lately. Did you guys see that? Where
No.
he went out, threw the football with his kids, but he put on his helmet and shoulder pads. I think Tree's got to recreate that.
Ooh,
You got to get the Steelers helmet, shoulder pads, and you got to go.
I would
throw-
love. Go ahead.
I want to make a suggestion.
Yeah.
Can Tree go out? It doesn't have to be this season. Like, it could be after the season. Can Tree please go out in public and he can get Nick to follow him or something like that and pretend that he's TJ Watt? Because I think the familiarity is close enough. If you get a few of your friends to come over and be like, oh my God, TJ, and you start signing autographs and we can see how big that crowd, I think that would be phenomenal.
That's pretty good
That'd be
too.
my
He's wearing a TJ Watt jersey.
That is a
That
good
would be
one.
very
You don't even have to go
funny.
full TJ Watt jersey because like you'd be incognito, but like someone's got to call and be like, oh my God, TJ, and then just starts like signing stuff. Please.
Also, you have to do it in front of a house this big if you do this one.
I mean, dude, my house ain't that big, dude.
It's a nice house. Oh, I got a puppy.
I would
2 puppies.
I would just love to see. I've seen Tree throw a baseball. I want to see Tree throw a football because that has got to be just content gold. Because throwing a football is not easy.
Well, I haven't thrown a football in like 20 years.
Yeah, I just want to see Tree throw a football. I just want to see what type of horrific athleticism is.
Thank you, Quentin Johnson, Jefferson Williams.
This
Tree's
kid's got good
arm.
arms. No surprise there.
Well, their dad's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
I would hope
No
so.
surprise there.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
don't know. I like the
All right,
TJ
what
Watt
is it?
thing.
Private
I like
what
the
do you think?
TJ Watt thing.
I like the Watt thing too.
Just like during the offseason, have like a couple people be like, oh my God, like TJ Watt. I feel like you get a little crowd. I feel like you could do it.
Maybe that or JJ, because I can do either or.
Nick can do it, right? Nick lives near you.
Oh yeah, Nick lives in State College. He's a
That's
couple
what, like
hours away.
Nick. If Nick just runs up to him in like a crowd and goes, "Oh my God, TJ Watt," and you're just like, you don't have to say anything. Just like, just start signing stuff.
Yeah, just
taking
don't
selfies.
deny it.
Yeah.
Do you accept this punishment, Tree?
You got two options. You can pick either one.
Yeah.
But I like Tom's.
He
All
accepted.
right. Guys, that's going to conclude.
As
the
an armchair master, that might be actual fraud if I get arrested. So
3J. No, you don't say a
Not
word.
stolen
Like you
valor.
literally just be
Keep
like,
walking.
oh, yeah.
Wherever you're walking, just keep walking. With that being said, this has been the conclusion of the first.
Oh, what do we got
episode
coming out?
of Clickbait Sports 2025. What do we have coming out though? I'll start. I got the Magrooters, a new channel launching. The Magrooters.
What do you mean the new? I thought that was an old channel that launched like 2 years ago. Scooter.
We never posted anything. There's no videos
Did you
on
put
the
your
channel.
wedding video on there, like a trailer?
Trailer, but like we never posted it.
Okay,
So
I was
we're
gonna say, I was like,
actually
oh, let's not
starting-
making things up. All right.
YouTube.com/themagruders.
Nice.
If you want to see how I live my life, not as a Cowboys fan, subscribe. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something.
Boom.
That's coming soon.
Five. We got.
I have a video on a football league that literally hates America. They literally hate America, and they have it written into their rules.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's shocking. Some very perceptive people would know what this is, but
Giants or Jets to their fans.
Terrorist football league.
Yeah, they are anti-American, and I can't believe it. I found this rule.
Whoa,
It's crazy.
Tom, what's coming out on your channel?
I'm gonna do a Jair video either today or tomorrow. Q&A. I'm streaming Saturday. I'm streaming Sunday. I'm streaming every playoff game. So we're gonna try to get.
I will also.
every
I will
playoff game's
also be
going for like 5
streaming.
years, so.
I'll be streaming the Giants game as a tank bowl to see if they can clinch their
Let's go,
draft
Giants.
position
I believe in
live
you.
on Maine.
Win one
By
more
the way.
game, Giants. Brandon Perna, what is coming out on the channel?
I got a Sam Darnold episode tomorrow.
All
Sammy,
right.
slinging Sammy Darnold.
Sammy slinging
We will be
Sammy
looking
Darnold.
forward to all of those. And we have
Tree, what do you got
51
coming out, brother? Because
Well,
My gosh.
Yeah,
Tree.
well, I'm streaming Steelers Bengals on Saturday. State of the Tree. I'm late on that. It's probably going to be whining, but whatever. I'll do that. But otherwise, it's going to be sports ball and then Haters Guide to the NFL playoffs. So
There we go.
what's going on?
Looking forward to those
Yep.
two. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 51 more premium clickbait episodes coming your way this
Like
year.
40. Like
We're
40.
just getting
51.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
48.
36. Probably be
Yeah,
36.
yeah. Brandon will be in 25 of them.
It'll vary.
Yeah,
We'll see you guys next
We
week.
love y'all.